Once upon a time, back when the world was fine, when everything nice was not full of mice, when fairy tales were scary tales, and when fairy tales became merry tales, and when they all fall as the time calls. But here in the moment, narrating the tale of tales, I am Meera Laxmi, and today I shall hop down the rabbit hole and play why I believe fairy tales are dead in the 21st century. They're supposed to be mythic cultural knowledge, but they've been removed from their sociological roots and seeping into all of us since childhood and messing with our minds. Here are 5 loopholes in fairy tales of today, or just questions that I, a lover of literature and fantasy, would like to pose to humans alive. Number 1. Why are we idolizing unrealistic standards of beauty? Listen to this. A teenage girl, blessed with beauty so flawless and enchanting, she is the fairest in the land, with lips red as a rose, hair black as ebony, and skin white as snow. Ah, there we have our darling Snow White, a fair and brainless creature who was only 14 years old. Cinderella, Aurora, Ariel, Rapunzel, Elsa and Anna, Goldilocks and Jasmine, and even our victim of Stockholm Syndrome, the beautiful Belle who fell for the beast, they all vaguely matched the descriptions. Oh, and don't forget, when she's black, the princess is the ugly frog. Now tell me, everybody admires protagonists, heroes, and heroines. They want to be like them. But have you ever seen a plus size princess or one with acne? So, what does this teach young girls and boys and teenagers about their ideal physical appearances? How is this inclusive? It reeks of colorism as well. Or as Princess Fiona the Ogre had once remarked, I can't just marry whoever I want. I mean, who can ever love a beast so hideous and ugly? Princess and ugly don't go together. That's why I can't stay here with Shrek. My only chance to live a happily ever after is to marry my true love. Don't you see, Donkey? That's just how it has to be. Indeed. And that needs to change. Number 2. Why are we still clinging to traditional gender roles reminiscent of a medieval and misogynistic world? Listen to this refrain. Snow White is innocent, gentle, sweet, motherly, and delights in keeping house for the lovable 7 dwarfs while she waits to meet her beloved prince again. What is that refrain telling children about how women should behave and what they should focus on? A damsel in distress saved by the knight in shining armor. How glorious! Not to mention, of course, the stereotypes on men, the Prince Charmings of fairy tales. Prince Philip, Prince Eric, and Prince blah blah blah. All of them royal robots. Except these robots are dumber than human beings. The Disney princess, though supposedly heroic, have no real personalities, just fair and handsome and dashing. Does it always have to be this way? A world where women are depicted as motherly, sweet, hopelessly romantic victims, overly emotional, fragile, and naive, brainless creatures, always in need of rescuing, waiting for their Prince Charming to sweep right in? Or a world where men are forced to be manly, aka strong, brave, and valiant, and able to express their emotions, rigid predators, or always looking for a pretty damsel to rescue? Just, can't humans be humans? Today, or at least in the future, shouldn't we be aiming for a society without gender constructs, no stereotypical roles, no restrictive archetypes, and just every human for themselves? Number 3. Science, science, science. What happened to it? Where is it? Why is it so evil? The fairy tales, I believe, ought to be mildly intellectually stimulating to inculcate the desire to learn and understand the world. But today, even kids find the lackadaisical knowledge of sanitized fairy tales nonsensical. I mean, Prince Charming could have just gotten Cinderella's phone number or done a DNA test with the glass slipper. Like, duh! Moreover, Evil witches, dark sorcerers, and mysterious magicians and whatnot are actually the scientists, chemists, and inventors of today. They're technically the forebringers of society, pushing the frontiers of human capabilities. And yet, they're depicted as evil and wicked simply for standing apart, for being eccentric. Okay, I'm not justifying criminal acts like bewitching princesses with shiny apples or marketing purple poison as love potions, but in a world where we can fly and speak with waves and practically maneuver magic with tiny metal boxes in our hands, when science commandeers every nano aspect of our daily lives, let's embrace this witchcraft. Number 4. Why are we romanticizing tyranny and monarchy at a time when the rule of the people reigns and democracy is considered the ideal form of governance? Why do we still write and preach stories with great kings and evil queens ruling over vast kingdoms and fairy tales? Monarchy, power resting in a single person, handed down to generations, nobility, princes and princesses are things of the past. Today, democracy rules. Not to be political, but can fairy tales please keep up with the current affairs? Number 5. The endings. Why do we continue clinging to the illusion of happily ever afters that don't even exist in reality? A perfectly cheerful life devoid of suffering and despair. Oh, we'd wish. It could be an ideal, of course, but not sold. Expectations about humanity soar too high. Or maybe happily ever afters do exist, but they have nothing to do with being rescued by a handsome prince, although that wouldn't hurt. It doesn't hinge on a relationship. It has everything to do with each person finding their own happiness, which resides within them alone. As a matter of factly, the origins of these tales are gruesome, soaked in sorrows and painted in pain. Cinderella, the cold blooded killer who snaps her stepmother's neck with a dressing trunk, or Snow White, who tortures her biological mother to death with hot iron shoes. But today, we only encounter the sanitized juvenile versions of these tales. Let's just change them all. Finally, here's what I want to say to the storytellers and lovers and listeners and dreamers and charmers and villains and heroes of today. Change the story, change the world. Terry Pratchett. So, let's rewrite our fairy tales. The stories we tell today should ignite the flames of the future, not prolong the pain of the past. Stories that keep up with the technology of today and try the trysts of tomorrow. Let us dream of a bigger, brighter, and better future. Thank you.